The Acolyte officially got cancelled after one season, and I'm not surprised by this whatsoever, because I believe in my actual review for the show, I said something along the lines of I will not be surprised if this doesn't get a second season, and I was right. It did not get a second season, and people online, mostly on Twitter, are really upset by this for some reason, and they're saying that the toxic side of fandom caused the show to get cancelled, which that is not the case. What ended up happening is that the show just did poorly. It didn't bring in people. The season finale, from what I've seen, like from articles, is that it was the lowest finale watcher, like in terms of people watching the finale, out of any Star Wars project, which is really bad. That no one showed up to watch the finale of a Star Wars show. That's bad. That's because the show itself is not that entertaining. And I want to talk about this first because something I hate about the Disney Plus formula and the way these original shows are made is that there's no energy to it. The Acolyte is just content. It is not a show, it is just content. For Star Wars fans who are interested in lore and the time period of this era, that's where most of the content is getting. Like, in terms of the actual story and like in characters, there's nothing. And that's a problem, because if people can't connect to the characters and the story, then no one's gonna care. And that's the thing, the Acolyte, like I said, it's just content. There's no show in the Acolyte. Every single character is boring, and the acting is just boring. It's not the actor's fault, and never blaming the actor for a bad performance. It's the director, it's the higher-ups that make these decisions where the show has no energy, and it's just copy and paste. It's auto-generated. I feel like it's just automated, and it's not fun, and it's just content to keep you subscribed to the platform, which really sucks, because there's no energy, there's no life to it, and that's why the show failed. The reason shows like The Mandalorian and Andor are so well received because there's life in it. There's actual, like, the actors in it actually are expressing themselves. They're allowed to express themselves and actually have dynamic scenes. Unlike with the Acolyte, where the actors aren't allowed to be expressive. Like, everything feels auto-generated. Like, it's bad. And that's why people didn't connect with the Acolyte, and that's why it failed, because ultimately, that's what it came down to. It didn't matter about the identity politics of the show or whatever people want to claim it to be promoting. It had nothing to do with that, because the show itself was just content. There's no substance. That's only what happened, and people online, on Twitter, you know, they're just being really upset by this, because to me, in terms of the online presence of the Acolyte, once the third episode hit, that's when everything hit the fan, and all the toxic YouTubers started making, you know, basically making just, I don't know what to call it. Like, these reviews aren't even like reviews. They're just to hate watching the show and just nitpicking everything. Like, Star Wars Explained and Eckhart's Ladder are the only two, like, YouTubers that actually covered the actual show and gave it critiques, but also talked with the show, like the actual thing, not just nitpicking every minor detail to hate on it. They actually reviewed the show properly. So maybe asking, for people who actually do like the Acolyte, which I don't know who actually genuinely enjoys the Acolyte, because I've never seen anyone actually say that they actually do, unless they're just trolling. But for people who do really like the show, what's going to happen now? Because most likely the creator of the show had plans for season 2, but that got cancelled. Well, now what? Well, this is actually similar to Solo, where Solo got cancelled for sequels, which sucks, because, I mean, sequels to Solo actually would work very well, but you know, it didn't make the money back, so they got to make another one. But instead, they actually continued the storylines through Kira in the comic books. Like, Kira as a character in Solo is just, you know, there, but in the comic book, she's like this multi-three-dimensional character that expands decades into the Star Wars timeline for some reason, but she's there in the Star Wars timeline with all these comic books, and that could happen with the Acolyte. The Acolyte could continue with comics, most likely, because this isn't the first time it happened. Well, like the Clone Wars, they've done it as well, where the Clone Wars got canceled, so a lot of the arcs got turned into comic books, which sucks. They can't see it visually, but I mean, it's in, you know, book form, so that's cool. At least we're probably the same thing with the Acolyte. The Acolyte can continue in comic book form. Whatever ideas Leslie Henlon had for the second season will probably be illustrated through comic books, which, yeah, it sucks that you won't be able to see it visually, but still, the story is still going to continue one way or another. Saying a show is canceled in Star Wars doesn't mean anything. It'll just get continued somewhere else. Because with comic books, there is no, like, the entry of getting your money's back is way lower than an actual, like, professional production. Like the Acolyte cost $180 million to make, and to make back its money, it had to make a lot more through toy sales and that type of stuff, which it most likely didn't, because no one cared about the show. So with comic books, it's a much lower entry for getting your money's back, because making a comic book is way cheaper and easier to make than a show. That's most likely where the Acolyte's going to stay for the rest of its lifespan, is just through comic books, which, like I said, for people who like the show and the characters, which is a very small amount of people, but there is a fandom probably for the Acolyte, well, you gotta go to the bookstore and buy some comic books. That's most likely where the Acolyte's going to continue. But I'm going to leave it off here. But if you guys enjoyed, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe. I'm going to go now. So, goodbye, everyone.